Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us here on the Daily Brew. Happy Monday. A lot of people might be a little groggy this morning, but a lot of excited because OKC Thunder won last night. We've got a lot of fans here, and that's because Isaiah Joe and Jalen Williams, they were a part of it, and they're Fort Smith graduates.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Especially for like that local angle and being able to, a lot of people in Fort Smith, you know, their coaches.
I think the coolest part of all this is just the things that they've accomplished together over the years, right? They played at Northside, Fort Smith together in high school, and they went and they were both Razorbacks, and now Oklahoma City Thunder, and they just won a championship. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. And I think that just has to be the definition of Fringles. What are we doing, guys? Why aren't we winning championships with our friends?
I know. Well, I said my buddy and I always said growing up, like, we would play baseball, professional baseball together and win together. Yeah, that never happened.
What happened, Danny?
I couldn't throw 95 miles per hour. I could maybe throw 75, but that's not going to cut it in the pros.
Well, you could have switched. You didn't have to be a pitcher.
That's true. I didn't have that great of a bat either. I was more of like a spray hitter, so I just like find the gaps. So there's roles for that, but I don't have much power. But no, shout out to Jalen and Isaiah. I wish they would have played last night. I wish they had gotten on the court to play a little bit, but they had very key roles throughout the season. They got them to 68 wins. They were the best team in the NBA, and the best team ended up winning. Also had some key contributions throughout the playoffs, so it's not like, you know, they didn't play last night, they didn't contribute. They very much contributed. Also, on a side note, Tyrese Halliburton, fellow Iowa State guy, he's our age, or I gotta say my age, went to the same class, hasn't graduated yet, but he will, I'm sure. He tore his Achilles last night. He was dealing with that calf strain, and that Achilles, I don't know if you've seen the footage, but it looks like a guitar string that's, you know, when you strum. Yeah,
I haven't seen it, and I don't think I want to see it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it happened early in the first quarter, and so he's gonna tough it out. He's a tough guy. He's been toughing out that injury all series. So shout out to Tyrese. Unfortunately, those Achilles injuries take about 9 months to recover, so he might miss a lot of next season as well. But a hard-fought 7-game series, getting the first one in nearly 10 years. But shout out to the Thunder, winning their first in technically franchise history. The Supersonics won it back in the 70s, but the first that the Thunder have won, so congrats to them. And, of course, congrats to Isaiah and Jalen.
We're so excited for y'all. I can't wait to hear. I'm sure that here at 5 News, you know, we'll get interviews with past coaches of theirs and probably them or family members as the days go on. So it'll be really exciting to hear those. But I do want to know, Achilles injuries, do people typically, like, come back after that recovery time the same, or is it kind of never the same after that?
Yeah, Achilles injuries are tough, and unfortunately they're kind of becoming a little bit more common in sports. Jason Tatum of the Celtics, he had one a couple series ago. Kevin Durant had one in the NBA Finals, I believe, 2019. I'd have to check the year on that. Kevin Durant is kind of an oddity because he's just a super freak athlete. He's been a very good player. But if you can play the same play style, that's another question. Now, Tyrese, he's a distributor. He scores, but he passes the ball a lot, not necessarily super leaning on athleticism. So I think he can be the same, but it is very tough to come back from those injuries. Will he be the same player? I don't know, but he is 25. He's a healthy guy. You know, I think he'll be good. I think he'll be as good of a player as he was. It'll just be interesting, especially mentally, too. You come back from that injury, you're always planting off those feet. So it's going to be a tough recovery, but I believe in him. It can be tough to come back from, but I think he'll do pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. And then for all the Thunder fans out there, have fun celebrating today.
Yes.
Enjoy it. It makes Monday a little bit easier.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll have to see, because sometimes the players come back to where they grew up, and they'll either bring the trophy or they'll do visits.
Oh, I sure hope so.
It'd be awesome if they came back to Fort Smith.
Well, I feel like that's a good excuse, too, because there's 2 of them, right? The trophy only has to go one place.
Well, they might want it for, you know, themselves, but yeah, no, it'd be cool to see them
go visit the high school, the college, all that.
Yeah,
same place.
It'd be very cool.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, on another note, Rodeo the Ozarks returning for its 81st time. Have you ever been to the rodeo?
I haven't. I'm so excited. I think I'm gonna go on Thursday.
It's so fun. Okay, love the rodeo. I'd never been till a few years ago. Danny, have you been?
I just got here, Tiffany. Come on.
Well, yeah, but I didn't know if they had them where you're from.
The rodeo itself. We did have it in Iowa. Obviously not specific this one. We did have one in Iowa, but I did not go to the one in Iowa.
Okay, well, Rodeo the Ozarks is a great one. Tickets are about $10. They have everything from team roping to steer wrestling, saddle bronc. Okay, here's my favorite. My favorite is the mutton busting.
Okay.
That's when you have the little kids and they get on the back and they run, and it's the cutest thing ever.
Right here.
This is mutton busting. It's my favorite, and they just fall off. It's the cutest. But themes throughout the week, they have them every night. Family night, Hispanic heritage, tough enough to wear pink, and patriotism night. The parade is set to take place on Wednesday, June 25th. And I'm telling you, you watch this, and you hurt for them.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're watching this and you're like, oh,
Yeah, the
back.
whiplash, the back, everything.
Do they have a barrel racing?
yes.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember. I went a few years ago.
I've seen that at rodeos, and that looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, everything there is so neat.
Yeah.
I mean, these athletes are they're a different level.
Yeah, they really
When
are.
you
Was
see
rode-
the things they put their body through.
Was rodeo at the Ozarks where you got on the horse in one of your last shots? Was that-
What have I not done? I've gotten on a horse. That was at Rodeo at the Ozarks. I've gotten in the barrel that the rodeo clowns do, and they've spun it. I've gotten on a bull before.
Wow.
That was at Old Fort Days in Fort Smith. But it was a bull that was trained to take pictures on.
So it was.
But
It
it
didn't
did kind
rock
of
you.
buck. It got kind of mad at the owner, and I was like, there's a video, and I'm like, my life is flashing before my eyes. Like, this thing gets mad because it was a big bull.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would be scared.
And then I've done like the mechanic bull on air as well.
She's done it all, folks.
Rodeos are my favorite.
Yes, and one thing to note for that, weather should be good for that. The parade's at 10 a.m. on Wednesday should be dry, but as we've been talking about, mostly it's going to be muggy, so just be mindful of that.
It's going to be hot.
Yes, but again, it should be dry for the most part. Could have those couple of afternoon, evening showers during it all, but it's going to be very isolated. Nothing to ruin any plans. It would rain for like 10 to 20 minutes at a time.
Well, one of the best parts about it is, it starts at 5, 6, but I mean, it cools down pretty quickly.
Right, yeah.
Because it gets dark
and that's
fast.
the good news, yeah. Like you said, like 10 a.m. to 6 is usually kind of the peaks. The first hour of those events usually are hot. Then after that, it gets a lot
But you have to
cooler.
go, boys. I'm sad. I'm going to be out of town, so I'm going to miss it. So you have to go for me.
know.
I think my girlfriend would want to go as well, so maybe we'll
I'll need
we'll
to
go
get
there
some
and
cowboy
Sunday.
boots.
Oh boy, I'd say they'd have to be brown. I don't know if I'd get the.
Yeah, get some brown ones.
Okay, yeah, maybe we'll see, Tiffany. We'll see.
There you go. I have lots if you need.
I don't know if we have the same shoe
Pink,
size.
silver, red, black, brown, all of them. All right, well, on a different note, fans flocked to Huntington Beach on Friday to watch a different kind of sport. Top canine athletes. Take a look at this. For the Purina Pro Plan Incredible Dog Challenge Surf Contest, dogs range from 2 to 13 years old. And I'm obsessed with these pictures.
This is
We've
awesome.
got corgis, Dalmatians, pit bulls, and more showing off their skills. I love the little life jackets. Some have the goggles, like right there. This is the best thing. They're showing their skills, and it's pretty impressive because they go out there by themselves.
Hey,
They
look,
get
you got
on
it.
the board, and they pull the rope back in. And pull it all back in. It's so impressive.
Yeah, they
These are
look-
some talented dogs.
Especially like he looks kind of, or he or she looks kind of scared at some of them, but some of them look really happy. Like I said, like the lab. Look at him. Like
Look, he's ready to go.
he is so happy.
Oh, this one's focused too.
I would say he is locked in. I mean, these guys are locked in. I
They're
gotta wonder,
athletes.
is there a certain breed that like thrives in canine surfing?
I wonder. There are some dogs that like water more. Those are usually like
Right.
labs love
Right, yeah,
water.
right.
Like when it comes
Look
to
at 'em.
duck hunting and
Yeah, I was
stuff
just
like
saying.
that.
He's like, I
He's
got
carrying
it.
his own board.
Yeah, it's probably a lot easier for him than those little small dogs. Okay, well, on another note, Tesla's long-awaited autonomous robo-taxis have made their debut. Have y'all seen these? After
have.
years of teasing, Tesla launched a small fleet in Texas over the weekend. On a post on X, Tesla CEO Elon Musk called the rollout a culmination of a decade of hard work. Musk also said customers paid a flat fee of $4.20 for a ride. Now that part sounds nice, but it's just the driving themselves vehicles. I don't think I have a hard time with that.
They were all over Phoenix and
The Waymo, right? Is that what they call them,
They were
Waymos?
all over in Phoenix, and at first it's a bit jarring because you're almost.
You rode in them?
No, I've never been in one. I'm saying seeing them, especially
Oh, yeah.
when you see them on the highway, it's a
So-
little bit jarring. But once you start getting used to them, then it's like you expect them.
But okay, so I was in Scottsdale last summer for a bachelorette trip, and I didn't get in the Waymo, but some girls got in the Waymo, and it freaked out on them. Like they got stuck, it locked the doors,
Oh, no.
like
Oh,
it kept
boy.
stopping in parking lots, like of businesses, and they like had to get on the phone with customer service to like get it to like reboot.
Yeah.
But they said it was scary because it's a group of girls in a car, and it's like you can't get out, doors are locked, it's stopping at random parking lots. Like it freaked them out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was just a technical glitch. They said that there was something on the sensor, customer service did. So once they wiped like this sensor inside, then it was fine.
Yeah.
But just really interesting.
Yeah, it's scary though that something that small, like a little bit of a blip on the sensor, can cause it to panic and
Right?
lock down. The technology's scary sometimes. Like this stuff.
I agree.
Even like the Chat GPT stuff scares me. I don't know. Like you said, it'd be definitely jarring just to see it, but then to get in one and be like, oh my God, there's no one driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a little creepy, a little unsettling, but I think this is the way of the future. And for $4.20, it might be worth a try. Ubers are way more expensive than that, right?
That's true.
Okay, well, here on another note, Tigers won the College World Series against Coastal Carolina. Now they've won 8 times, second title in 3 years. Here's some video or some pictures from the wins. We're still a little bitter because they beat Arkansas. But hey, if we're going to lose to anyone, I'm glad it was the national champions.
Yes.
But we don't have video of it, but we need to talk about it. It was a big deal. Coastal Carolina coach got ejected. They said that he was unwarranted. One of the base umpires ran toward the confrontation and fell on his back. And he said that he was tripped by the coach. But Danny, you watched this game.
Yes.
I just saw the replays later. Okay, live action, what were your thoughts on it?
So basically, kind of like any coach, they were arguing about the strike zone and missing pitches. And the one that set him off was it was in the first inning. That's the worst part. It was the bottom of the first. Game's just starting. And so there was a pitch that was inside. And usually what happens is the base runner was stealing from first to second. What happens is when the catcher goes up to catch it, he's going to catch it and throws it. So the ump can't really see. It looked inside. It looked like a ball. However, they called it a strike. So note, Coastal Carolina is hitting, so the strike was called against them. And so the Coastal Carolina coach basically came out to argue and said something along the lines of like those 3, I can't remember, it was like those 3 pitches were not strikes or something like that, right? And that's all it took to get tossed.
That's wild.
And so he went off. Then the base coaches, they were kind of arguing between LSU and Coastal Carolina. And then, as you mentioned, the Coastal Carolina, I think the first base coach came in. And he got tripped. It seemed a little, like, okay, come on. Like, it wasn't like a shove or anything. But he came in and started arguing, and then he got ejected as well. So not only are ejections rare, it is the College World Series, last game of the season. They're playing for their postseason lives, and you get ejected in the first inning. I didn't see anything that warranted an ejection. And, it's tough because being an ump, it's a tough job. I get it. Things are coming in at 0.4 of a second. But I think you got to let it go. Emotions are running high, especially in college baseball. They always run pretty high. Sure. And Coastal Carolina is a very good team. They won it, I think, about 5 or 6 years ago.
They had the most wins out of anyone, right?
Yeah, they won 50-plus games. So you got to let it go a little bit. I'd understand if it was like the 8th inning and they'd be John Adam all game. Mm-hmm. But this was the bottom of the first. And so they got ejected, and sometimes that can fire up a team a little bit and say, like, okay, let's play for a coach.
Did here, though.
I think the 2 ejections especially, you lose your leader, and then you lose one of your other leaders too. It's tough. They had lost game 1. And I think it just kind of fell off after that.
Yeah, I hated this. I didn't see the replay, but my husband was talking about it, and he spent like 10 minutes watching it, and he just couldn't believe it. He was like, I've never seen anything like this, where he said it was something so little. It felt like.
I don't think it definitely didn't warrant an ejection, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the first inning.
I was going to say, you got to think about what that does to the player. Like you said, it could fire them up, but it could also have the opposite
And I didn't
effect.
realize there were 2.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is like at 2 of them, and usually, like, you'll see coaches sometimes, they'll try to do that to get their guys fired up. Like, let's say the game's getting out of hand, right? But that's usually in the middle of the game. This was the first inning.
Or towards the end, right?
This is the first inning. He's just trying to defend his players, not necessarily fire them up. And so I think that's the problem, is it wasn't necessarily what he intended. He didn't try to eject. Because some coaches, as you've probably watched, if you guys watch any sport, they will try to get ejected. Like, all right, I'm getting out. This guy, he was just trying to argue calls. Every coach does it. So it was disappointing to say the least. But again, with all that said, congrats to the LSU Tigers. Arkansas, we're coming next year.
Yeah, that's it. It's our year next year. It really is, guys.
It always is.
Okay, well, a decades-long dream finally realized. Now, Dennis Schneider and another Vietnam War veteran, 81-year-old Richard Hill, they donned caps and gowns as part of a high school class of 2025. Say it. What's the town?
Muscatine, Iowa.
Muscatine, Iowa.
Yes.
And he corrected me on that earlier, so I'm just letting him take it. Now, the summer before his junior year, Schneider volunteered to join the Army. The 17-year-old Iowa farm boy was sent to a base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Now, Schneider believes that there are many more veterans around the country that deserve their diplomas and the recognition of service that comes with it. And this is just so awesome. We've seen things like this happen more and more in the last few years, I feel like, whether it's a college degree or a high school degree. Right. And people went and, they were potentially about to pay the ultimate sacrifice, right? Mm-hmm. They did not get to be a kid like everyone else. They didn't get to go experience college and join a fraternity and live the life. Like, they went, they signed up to serve their country. And so, of course, they deserve this honor and so much more.
Yeah, and watching, to see how emotional he was getting for getting that diploma, to what it meant to him, even though he didn't owe anybody anything, right?
Right.
The diploma to him, it isn't going to do anything, but for him, it meant something because it meant something else completed. And so, I don't know, one of my favorite stories that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of support for it too. You saw with the outdoor graduation, a lot of people were out there. And again, yeah, like you said, didn't actually get to graduate. And even though it might seem like a small gesture, it meant the world to him. And we always thanks our office men and women that go to war for us. So we always appreciate you. Again, that's a super cool story. Muscatine, just for reference, is like on the border of Iowa and Illinois. They're in southeastern Iowa. But again, really cool story. I'm glad he got his high school diploma. It's cutting onions this morning on this Monday. But yeah, it's an awesome story. Awesome story.
Amazing. And he deserves it, right? Like, I hope that his family puts it in a nice frame.
Oh, that's
had a graduation party for him, all the things. If not,
absolutely.
Come on, we'll do it for you.
I want to go to his graduation party. Graduation party season is upon us too. I'm a little old for that, but like all the food that comes with it's always so good.
Oh yeah, that was a good time in life, wasn't it?
It really was.
All right, well, you were speaking of outside. They're out there for that service. Probably pretty hot because it's kind of hot nationwide right now.
Yeah, I would say specifically in Iowa, it was about as hot in Iowa this past weekend as it was here. So yeah, it's really been hot across the center portion of the country. We'll go to your 7-day forecast. So you see the 10% chance for rain. It is very, very isolated chance, very spotty. I'd say about 90 to 95% of us are going to be dry. But that one town that does get some rain, just know that the pale fella did say, yeah, it could rain today. A little bit of a better chance tomorrow during the afternoon and evening. Basically, the theme is going to be for this week, sunshine during the morning, clouds bubble up during the afternoon, and maybe a couple of scattered showers and rumbles of thunder, especially on Tuesday. Wednesday for the Rodeo of the Ozarks, as I mentioned, it's going to be dry during the morning for the parade. So the parade is all clear, just a little bit warm and muggy. Then during the late afternoon, early evening, and could see some isolated storms. Nothing to really cancel any plans over. They're usually these popcorn kernels, like to call them. They rain for 20 to 30 minutes, maybe heavy at times, and then they go away. Thursday looks dry. Friday and Saturday, that same theme as I described, but it does get a little bit hotter towards the weekend, so that temperature is slowly on the rise. Humidity looks like it's going to stay roughly the same in the upper 60s and low 70s, so we'll be watching for those heat indices that could be well exceeding the triple digits in the River Valley and possibly feels like it's close to 110, something that we're definitely keeping an eye on as we wrap up June. And of course, we're only getting into the peak of summer. It's only going to get hotter. The hottest time of the year is until late July, early August, so I was going to say, we have only just begun here, and as a Minnesotan and Iowan, oh boy, I cannot wait.
I was going to say my favorite time of year. Who's with me?
Yeah,
Summer?
but I was talking about it the other day.
Favorite.
I was like, summer has always been my favorite, but I think it's the nostalgia of being out of school, going to the lake, swimming at your friend's pool, and then I was like, is it still my favorite because I'm working, I don't have a pool, and I don't have a bow.
But last night, I went to a friend's house for dinner. Leaving, seeing the fireflies.
Yeah,
it's
is
warm.
pretty.
It's kind of like the sun's coming down. It's just like
is
there's
special.
just such like a nostalgic feeling.
Seeing
to it.
kids out running and playing,
yeah.
it brings back the memories, right?
I would definitely say fall for me. All the sports start late fall, especially. I know the temperature doesn't agree, but all the sports start, especially the NFL, and then you got college football, college basketball starts, and then you got okay temperatures. I know it does snow in the winter, but I'm saying late fall. That's usually my favorite.
And
I like early fall.
Thinking of fall, it reminds me of school. Like you just said, nostalgic for, or you think summer makes you think of all the good things. Whenever I think of fall, I just think of school.
Yeah, that's
So you're like,
even
no.
though we've been working for it.
I was saying, sorry, I was a little bit of a nerd, so I actually like school. But
He loved school.
Yeah, sorry.
He raised his hand in class.
I teach.
Did you actually?
Sometimes, yeah. I did in college a lot. Well,
Okay.
I wanted to ask questions. All right.
I love it. No, I love it, Danny.
Enough
Good
exposing
for you.
myself.
I should have paid attention more. All right, well, thanks for joining us on the Daily Brew. We'll see you back here tomorrow, 7 a.m.